Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabala Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yasodanandana Jai Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jai Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jagaguru Prabhupada Jagaguru Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Srimad Bhagavatam Amala Purana Srimad Bhagavatam Amala Purana Jaya Srimad Bhagavatam Amala Purana Srimad Bhagavatam Jaya Amala Purana Haribo Gaura Haribo Gaura Haribo Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Pramanande Haribo Namaskritya Narayana Namaskritya Narinshara Naruchama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatujaya Mujiraya Nasta Praiswa Badrisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamasloke Bhakti Bhakti 9 sticking. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 7th chapter, verse number 50. So I am te Bihita Stata Bhagavan Viswabhavana Samasena Harina Yad Anyasma Sat Asak Chayat So Yamte Bihita Stata Bhagavan Viswabhavana Samasena Harina Yad Anyasma Sadasak Chayat So Hamte Abhita Stata Bhagavan Viswabhavana Samasena Harina Yad Anyasma Sadasak Chayat Suyamte Bhita Stata Bhagavan Viswabhavanam Samasena Harina Yad Anyasma Sadasak Chayat. Word for word translation. Sa that I am the same te unto you. Abhita explained by me. Tata, my dear son. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Visvabhavana, the creator of the manifested world. Samasena, in brief. Hari, without Hari, the Lord. Na, never. And yet, anything else. And Yasmat, being the cause of Sat, manifested or phenomenal. Asat, nominal. Cha, and Yat, whatever there may be. Translation and purport by Divine Grace La A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Ari, the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and nominal existences. Purport by Divine Grace La A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Since we generally have the experience of the temporary material world and conditioned souls trying to lord it over the material worlds, Brahmaji explained to Narada Deva that this temporary world is the work of the external potency of the Lord, and that the conditioned souls struggling here for existence are the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. The personality of Godhead, there is no cause for all these phenomenal activities but him, Hari, the Supreme Lord, who is the primeval cause of all causes. This does not mean, however, that the Lord himself is distributed impersonally. He is aloof from all these interactions of the external and marginal potencies. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.4, it is confirmed that by his potencies alone, he is present everywhere and anywhere. Everything that is manifested rests on his potency only. But he, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always aloof from everything. The potency and the potent are simultaneously one and different from one another. One and different from one another. Okay. One should not deprecate the Lord. One should not deprecate the Supreme Lord for the creation of this miserable world. Just as one should not blame the king for creating a prison house in the government. The prison house is a necessary institution of the governmental establishment for those who are disobedient to the laws of the government. Similarly, this material world full of miseries is a temporary creation of the Lord for those who have forgotten him and are trying to lord it over the false manifestation. He, however, is always anxious to get the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. And for this, he has given so many chances to the conditioned souls via the authoritative scriptures, his representatives, the personal incarnations also. Since he has no direct attachment to this material world, he is not to be blamed for its creation. Om Gyana Timrandasya, Gyana Gyana Sarakaya, Chaksu Umlitan Yenatasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobistam Savitayana Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantika. Mukam Karutuba Shalam, Pangum Langyate Bilen, Yat Kripata Rahamandir, Sri Gurum Dinataran. Vanchakavatar Vyacha, Kripasendu Vyasivacha, Pachitana Bhavanandyo, Vaishnava Vyo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadara, Sri Sajit Pura Bhakta Prenda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I am te bihita stata Bhagavan Visvabhavana Samasena Harihi Ananyat Ayasman Sadasat Chayat. My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and nominal existences. So we welcome everyone for coming on board this afternoon for this Bhagavatam class. And we thank you very much for sacrificing your time and energy. And definitely you should know that the Lord is choosing you for blessing this afternoon. And thank you for honoring the opportunity. I am here to also try to purify myself in the process and also learn from everyone present here. So this particular topic we are talking about is a very big topic, topic of creation of this world and the spiritual. It's a very big topic. But here specifically, Lord Brahma is speaking to Narada that he has explained in brief about the Supreme Personality of God, who is the creator of the manifested worlds, and that without him, who is the cause of all causes, there will be no existences, both nominal and phenomenal. So everything actually rests in the Lord. And in the purport the first part of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining about how this material world is a composition of the external energy and the internal energy. The internal energy, the marginal energy is the individual living entity is also actually part of the spiritual energy. There are only two energies, the spiritual or the external and the internal or the spiritual. These are the two energies that exist. But when we say the living entity who is struggling to lord over material nature, we are talking about a little fragment, a very fragmental part of the internal potency. And because of its magnitude in relationship with the external and the internal, which are very gigantic energies, universal energies, the minute, the living entity, who is just a fragment, can come under the influence of the external energy. And here in the material world, what we experience is that the marginal energy, that the living entity that has come under the influence of the external energy, is struggling to exploit the resources of the material world, trying to lord it over. This is what is happening. The very tiny living entity who are falling under the influence of the external energy is trying to lord it over, not knowing that this is a very big energy, universal energy of the Lord, and very, very strong energy, which the Lord himself testified. The Lord himself testified that this energy is the divine energy of mine. It is insurmountable, practically insurmountable. That means with our effort, we cannot overcome it. But it is only when we take shelter of the Master, who is the Lord, then by the mercy of the Master, we can overcome it. So the living entity is struggling very hard trying to lord it over here. This is the problem. And in the process of trying to lord it over, lording it over means he wants to enjoy the manifested world, and therefore is trying to bring the senses in contact with their objects in different ways. He's trying to lord over, he's trying to control, he's trying to manipulate, he's trying to adjust, using his intelligence and his mind, which are all given to him by the Supreme Lord himself. He's struggling very hard to enjoy and exploit the resources of material nature. And in the process, he's getting more and more entangled. Because material nature has different it has different branches. The three modes of material nature are there also: goodness, person, and ignorance. Like a drunk, somebody who goes to drink. The energy is on its own. The drink is on its own. And he carried his two legs, walked to the drinking bar, and ordered for the drink. He's trying to influence the drink. And he opens it and empties the content into his container. Then, before he realized, he had been influenced by what he went there to influence. So he becomes messed up. Once the first influence takes place, you continue to go deeper and deeper. He takes one bottle, you want to take another bottle. Under the influence, you want to take the third bottle, fourth bottle, fifth bottle, until tomorrow morning he finds himself lying down by the gutter. Everyone else have left, only him was there till the next day. He went to influence the bottle of beer. But he got influenced, was arrested and got influenced by the bottle of beer itself. So this is what happened when the eternal living entity, when the living entity who is by nature eternal, who belongs to the eternal potency, tries to enjoy the eternal potency. He went there to enjoy it. Now, because it's very minute, it's very fragmental part of the internal potency, he got influenced, he got arrested by the external potency and tried to implicate him in different activities. And he's struggling very hard, changing bodies upon bodies. until it gets the body of a human being, it gets the body of a cockroach, a lizard, any type of body it gets. The funny thing is that Maya has two potencies. It has two potencies. One is the pulling down potency. Maya first pulled him down as he tried to go and influence the senses, trying to enjoy the senses. Maya pulls him. And as he pulls him down, then the second potency is that it covers him. Maya covers him after pulling him down. So the covering potency of Maya is what is responsible for the hog feeling very satisfied in his stool-eating condition. It is the covering potency of Maya that is responsible for the dog eating stool and thinking it is nectar. It is the covering potency of the rats living comfortably in holes. It is the covering potency of Maya that is making the animals to have sex in the open and think that they are in heaven. It is the covering potency that makes the cockroach to feel very satisfied living inside toilet holes, grand toilets for that matter. And it is that same covering influence that makes the birds and the he-goats and the tigers to be happy knocking down any creatures and eating their flesh. It is the covering influence of Maya. So Maya has two potencies. One is the pulling down potency, one is the covering potency. And they are all operating here within this material world, being superintended by time, governed by the imperceptible presence of time. He got influence and is acting and is getting reactions, getting entangled and going deeper and deeper due to this. After time takes away everything back and bring him to square one, then he has to now face Yamaraj and he has to be trained. The subtle body has to be trained, to behave in the particular way for which he is qualified. So this is going on. This material world is a composition of the external energy and the marginal energy. The marginal energy are part of the spiritual energy or internal energy, but because of their fragmental nature, they got influenced by the external energy and they are struggling to lord it over the external energy. This is what is going on. This is the first point that is presented here. So there's a slogan in the Bhagavatam, Canto 11. In Canto 11, what is that slogan? Bhayam, the origin of fear. Because before he started going to influence the external energy, he was not afraid. But as he got there, he got gripped by fear. Bhagavatam 11:37. 11:37. Canto 11, chapter 2, text 37. Baya duisata, baya duitia, binibe satasya, isad apetasya vipariayo asmriti, tan mayato buddha abajetam, bhaktiyai kayesam gurudevatatma. That fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and his very life and soul. Isad apetasia, as soon as the living entity turn away from the Lord, Isad apetasia, then vipariayo asmriti, forgetfulness begins. When he turns away from the Lord, he got covered and he forgets his real identity. Isat apetasia, viparia yo asmriti. And then in that forgetfulness, is into different bodies and is it is that influence that made Indra to refuse when he was invited to go back to the heavens, when he was operating as a hog here under the curse. And he refused to go back. I said, what do you mean? Where are you calling me to? Do you know what I'm enjoying? I'm a hog. I'm enjoying stew. How can you stop me for you don't know the nectarian nature of stew? That's why you have not eaten stew before. That's why you are trying to bring me out of it. I will never follow you. What about all my children? What about this? What about my house? What about my cooking pots? What about all this? Eh? How can I leave all of them and go? Where do you want me to go? I'm not going anywhere. Go and do your heavenly kingship yourself. So in this way, Indra refused to go. So if Indra himself, powerful as he is, can get influenced like that, how much more we? How much more we? Who are just struggling here, very tiny. So this is the situation. We have to be very, very careful to know who actually everything belongs to. In Bhagavad Gita, in the purport here, in Bhagavad Gita 9:4, it is confirmed that by his potency alone, he is present everywhere and anywhere. Everything that is manifested rests on his potency only. But he, as the supreme personality of Godhead, is always aloof from everything. The potency and the potent are simultaneously one and different. So everything you see in existence here is a manifestation of the Lord's energy. So everything is coming from him. Maya tata midam sarvam jagad abhyakta mutina mat stani sarva bhutani na chaham tisu avasitaha. That by me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. So this establishes the potency that the Lord is simultaneously one with everything in his creation, is one with his creation, but he's also aloof from his creation. He's simultaneously one and different from his creation. Everything actually rests in him. In Bhagavad Gita 10:8, we remember the beginning of the chapter sloka, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, Mata Sarvam Prabhatate, Iti Matva Bhajantimam, Buddha Bhava Samamvita. That I am the source of both the spiritual and the material world. That everything rests in me. And that the wise who perfectly knows this engages in my devotional service with all their hearts. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly knows this engages in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. It is true. The Lord is the source of everything. The spiritual world is manifestation. The material world is a manifestation and transformation of his external energy. So he's everything. That's why it's called Bhagavan. Everything comes from him. Everything emanates from him. And if you know that everything in this world, in the material world, is just a transformation of his external energy, including all the creations you can see in any form, they are all transformations of the Lord's external energy. So if that is true, the energy is actually not different from the energetic source. You see, just like the sun sign is not different from the sun itself. Yes, the sunshine is not different from the sun, but at the same time, it is different from the sun. It is by that same token that the Supreme Lord is not different from his creation, because everything within the creation is in him and is also aloof from everything too. Just like the sun is different from the sun rays, at the same time is not different from the sun rays simultaneously. See, it is this philosophy of Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, which harmonizes these apparently opposite polarities. There are no polarities in God. In God, every polarity is unified. So that is a point to note. So having said this, it is good to try to analyze this word Bhagavan. 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 You know, Bhagavan. The Lord maintains, is the maintainer. Bhagavan. Bhagavan actually means, it is explained by Srila Jiva Goswami in some 3 dimensions. He separated it, Bha, then Ga, then Van. Bhagavan. Bhagavan. He separated it and brought it very, very clear for us that if we can understand what Bhagavan means, then we can understand everything in creation, somehow or the other. So what does Ba means according to him? In fact, in the Sri Upanishad, this is broken down by Srila Prabhupada in Mantra 16. Mantra 16, there is no need to speculate. Mantra 16 purpose, it is broken down what Bhagavan means. That, as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, and let me just read it there before we analyze. In the Brahma Jyoti, the full potency of the absolute truth is not realized, and therefore Brahma realization is only partial realization of the personality of Godhead. O learned sages, the first letter of the word Bhagavan is twice significant. That means there are two. That means there are two, effects or two meanings of the word Bhagavan. It's twice significant. First, Ba means he is the maintainer, one who fully maintains. And second, in the sense of a guardian. So Ba means is the maintainer and at the same time the guardian. The maintainer and the guardian. And the guardian. The second letter, Ga, means guide, leader, or creator. We are going to analyze them. So let us just take time. Ga means guide, leader, or creator. And the letter Va or Ba means that every being lives in him. And he also lives in every living being. In other words, the transcendental sound Bhagavan represents the infinite knowledge, potency, energy, opulence, strength, and influence, all without any tinge of material in everything. So how does the Lord maintain? Here's the first question. The Lord is the maintainer of everything. How does he maintain? Or what does he maintain? He's the maintainer of everything. What does he maintain? The Lord fully maintains his unalloyed devotees. Because the material world is being maintained by the Paramatma, okay? Is a separate feature of the Lord's Paramatma. It is that maintains the material world. And how does the Paramatma maintain the material world? It maintains the material world as a super soul who witnesses our activities, Upadrasta Anumantacha, Bhauta Bhukta Maheswara. He witnesses our activities and he gives rewards. He rewards our activities. So all the fruitive workers, generally all Vikamis and Kamis, are being maintained by the Paramatma. Karanam Guna Sangusya Sadasa Yoni Janmasu. They are being maintained by the Paramatma. It is the Paramatma that maintains the Vikamis and the Kamis. All the people and the activities in the material world is the Paramatma that maintains. The Vikamis and the Kamis, they believe in romanticizing the body, whereby they believe in sense gratification. and they believe in ritualistic aspect of the Vedas. And they engage in all kinds of rituals, so that they can maximize their sense gratification. You see? So both the V kamis and the kamis. The V kamis, they don't put any regulation, but the kamis, they put some regulations, scriptural regulations, so that even though they are gratifying the senses, they will not get full reaction or chastisement. Their chastisement will be reduced. So for that reason, they are involved in all kinds of ritualistic activities. If you want sense gratification, you do like this, you perform some austerity, you worship this demigod, you look at this. So they are attracted to these flowery aspects of the Vedas. So they are all maintained by the super soul, the Lord in the heart as the Paramatma. And how does he maintain? Karanam Guna Sangusya, Sat Asa Unit and Masu. When he leaves the body, upon taking a new body, he has forgotten everything, but the super soul will remind him and will guide him to the appropriate quarters, appropriate parents, so for him to continue where he stopped. He will be given the aggregate of his sinful reactions. Then he will now start with that, in a new body. This is how he rewards, the super soul rewards. But this time, Krishna is the guide, the maintainer. What does he maintain? Actually, the Lord maintained is different. This Lord we are talking of is different from the Paramatma feature we are talking. It's the Supreme Lord himself. He maintains the devotees. He maintains devotional service. Okay? He maintains the devotees. So the devotees, in other words, are not under the control of the Paramatma per se. They are directly under the control of the Supreme Personality of God. But all those who are into sense gratification, this is the Paramatma that take charge of them by awarding them reactions to their activities. Okay, so when one shifts camp to devotional service, the Paramatma no longer maintains him. It is the Krishna himself who take over the maintenance of his devotees. Krishna himself takes over the maintenance of his devotees. And so Prabhupada used to say, you do not need to worry about anything once you become a devotee. Just become a devotee and work on the purity of your devotional service. And as long as we are working on the purity of our devotional service, it is the Krishna himself who directly take charge, reciprocally. Krishna take charge of the devotees, personally. There may be some obstacles because he's taking charge is not just to pamper. Sometimes it brings some obstacles, it brings some challenges, but along the line, you will realize that it's for your internal purification. And he has already granted you the ability to overcome the temptation or the challenge. So in this way, Krishna maintains. Okay, so becoming a pure devotee, which is encouraged, is like you becoming fully dependent on Krishna. When we become fully dependent on Krishna, Krishna takes full charge of our activities. So we are no longer under the camp of the Paramatma and his maintenance. We are now directly under the maintenance of Sri Krishna, devotional exchanges. And that becomes like the pure devotees are therefore like children, like they are like children who have become fully dependent on the Lord. You see? But the non-devotees, they feel they can maintain themselves. So they depend on the senses, they depend on their abilities, they depend on their intelligence, they depend on their manipulations, on their calculations. They depend on that. And for that, they have been plunging themselves into all kinds of situations. And they are getting the reactions and they are suffering. So why should you in the end blame the Lord for creating this material world? This material world is created as a prison house for those who really want to rebel against the Lord. So it should not be blamed for creating the prison house, the material world. It is a design. And the purpose of the design is that you should eventually reform. The purpose of this material world design is reformation. So if eventually everything frustrates the physically embodied living entity until it becomes reformed and be ready to be a deputy, what is wrong? You see, if you don't directly accept that there are 9 processes of devotional service, you have to do devotional service by rendering service to Krishna under the guidance of the Guru. If you want to do it the other way, indirect way, whereby you have to serve your senses and from your experience you suffer and learn from your suffering, then what is wrong? Eventually you will come to realize, like a prisoner suffers loss of independence, loss of so many things, loss of so many opportunities. And finally, if he gets reformed, then he can now come out. Then the purpose is fulfilled. The purpose of this material world is reformation. The purpose of the prison house is reformation. So the Lord arranges, and therefore you should not be blamed for the miserable conditions that people are suffering here. That is the end of the process. So according to this, there is a complete arrangement for the maintenance of the living entities in this world by the Lord himself. As we experience in the case of the child in the womb. The child in the womb does not need to separately think of how to maintain himself. He's fully dependent on the situation he finds, and Krishna never forgot him. He has arranged for him to eat through the mother. And as soon as he comes out, he doesn't need to separately arrange food for himself, how to maintain himself. He sees that there is air, there is water, there is sunlight, everything is already available, abundant. Then there is breast milk from his mother. The mother generates it. It is not the child's arrangement. The birds do not work in the factory. Yet they are feeding every day. All living entities, except human beings, have to make elaborate arrangements trying to create artificial levels for themselves. And in the process, they are suffering. So it's a misuse of the human machine that is making them to suffer more and more and taking more bodies to suffer. So the baby does not make arrangement for his own maintenance. The arrangement is made by Mother Nature for the mother to generate milk. Similarly, the pure devotees, they fully trust the Lord, and their only business is to do devotional service. So the Lord personally takes charge of the pure devotees. So the challenge is for us to become pure devotees. If we really want to enjoy being fully taken care of by the Lord, let us endeavor to become pure devotees. The Lord will be in charge, as in is in charge of all pure devotees, as we can see. The pure devotees are fully dependent on the mercy and maintenance arrangement made by the Lord, and they have only one business, and that business is to do devotional service. The Kamins are making separate endeavors, and for that they are plunging themselves into deeper and deeper level of suffering. This prison house is meant for them. The devotee who surrenders will get out eventually. And we say that the relationship between the Lord and the pure devotees is that the Lord maintains his devotees, and the devotees fully trust the Lord and his arrangement. And that is the meaning of Ba. Ba. Then Ba means, again, the maintainer and the guardian. And Ga means the guide. The guide, the leader, and the creator. What does that mean? Krishna guides his devotees on the path of devotion. Krishna guides his devotees on the path of devotion. He dissipates the darkness of ignorance with the torchlight of knowledge from within. He shows us the inner part of bhakti. He guides the devotee on the inner part of bhakti. So that is the meaning of God. He shows us what our anatas are. We know ourselves individually. The Lord shows us our anatas. He gives us some challenges. He shows us our challenges. Then he gives us the strength on how to get rid of these challenges along the line. Never leave us alone. So if apparently a devotee faces some challenges on the path, he should know that it is the Lord that is showing him what he needs to overcome. And along with it, the strength is given. So if he continues to maintain his trust on the Lord and try to carry out his duties unconditionally, the Lord takes care. He will remove it and let him know that actually that is just a pull. It's pulling him through the challenges in order to overcome them. So the Lord is also as a leader. He's a guide, he's a leader and the creator. So as a leader, what does he lead? A leader usually awards results to his followers. And here, the Lord awards himself. He gives the highest goal of life to his devotees, and that is himself. The Lord gives himself to his devotees as a leader. He gives himself to the devotees. Why? Because just as any ordinary leader, the leader belongs to his followers. The same way the Lord belongs to his devotees. As the devotees belong to him, he belongs to them. So there's an internal reciprocal relationship with them, so that nothing stops the devotee from reaching the Lord or doing his devotional service, and the Lord stops nothing stops the Lord from receiving his devotees. So there is an irresistible reciprocal relationship that exists between the devotee and the Lord. The devotee is so pure, devotees are so internally committed that nothing stops them from reaching the Lord. Nothing stops them from doing their duties. Nothing stops them. That is internal commitment. And the Lord removes obstacles on the path, apparent obstacles, so that they can reach him. So that is the pure devotee. It's a very beautiful reciprocal relationship. You see? So in the end, the Lord gives himself to his pure devotee. So what do we have to lose? Then as a creator, he can do the impossible. The Lord is the creator. God means the guide, the leader, and the creator. We talk about the guide, we talk about the leader. We are talking about the creator now. As a creator, he can do the impossible. Yes. And what exactly does he create? The Lord creates favorable conditions for devotional service, for his devotees. The Lord creates all favorable conditions for the execution of devotional service. That is what he creates. And sometimes he takes away also all those things that are not necessary, that are going to constitute obstacles on the part of our devotional service. The Lord takes it away. He creates favorable conditions for our devotional service, then he facilitates us and he takes away all things that are unfavorable for our devotional service. In this way, he creates. He takes away the obstacles. And he also creates some situations to discipline us. In all circumstances, it's for our purification. So when the Lord arranges to discipline us, it's also for our purification. Okay? So we don't need to worry. Once we have the Lord, we have everything. Then when we say Van, Bhagavan, Bhagavan means every being lives in him. And he lives in every being. Every being lives in him, and he lives in every being. Yes. How does every being live in the Lord? Whatever we see in existence here is either the manifestation of his internal energy or his external energy. Earth and its transformations and the things we see in this material tabernacle, they are transformations of his external energy. And the external energy has to be activated by the internal energy, which is the spirit soul. The spirit soul, individual spirit souls are all part and parcel of him. So we live in him. We are living in him. Both the external and the internal energies belong to him. Everything at all we can see in existence is a transformation of his external energy. And what activates them is the internal energy, the fragmental part of the internal energy that is captured within. You see? But beyond that, the Lord himself is there as consciousness. See? So even if we sleep, that Lord is always active, maintaining us. It is the Lord that maintains the individual soul when he sleeps. By the same token, he is always there. It's not affected by external circumstances. So everything, so therefore when he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mata sarvam prabhatate, iti matva bhajantima, Buddha bhava samavita. It means it is the source of both the material and the spiritual worlds. Everything rests on him. And the wise who perfectly knows this engages in his devotional service with all their hearts. So that is it. Therefore, it is the source of the power within us. Is the source, is the one that gives energy to the individual soul. That means beyond the individual soul, he is there as a super soul, and the source of consciousness. And in other words, he is the battery. The Lord is the battery within us. He is the battery within us. The battery. Without the battery, the engine cannot start. The Lord is the battery. So in this way, we live in the Lord, and the Lord lives in us. So Bhagavan means the maintainer, the guardian, the guide, the leader, the creator, and he who lives within us. And yes, and he who lives within us. Therefore, everything is coming from him. Everything at all in existence is coming from him. Is the cause of all causes. Yes, that is a fact. But at the same time, is the remote cause, and we are the immediate cause. That's why when we are suffering, the Lord, we want to separate it from the Lord. We are suffering because of our own misuse of independence. And it is not the Lord's cause. It's not the cause. Prison house is necessary for every government to function properly. So you cannot blame the government for making a prison house, because they know that there will be rebels. There will be people who will disobey. So a place has to be prepared for them proactively, so that when they misbehave, you just arrest them and put them there until their attitude changes, until they reform. So that is why we should not blame the Lord, and the Lord should not be deprecated, as in the second part of the purpose. That one should not deprecate the Supreme Lord for the creation of this miserable world. All the miseries we are passing through, don't blame the Lord. If we have taken the body of cockroaches, lizards, termites, wall geckos, goats, he-goats, and sea-goats, and lions, we should not blame the Lord for our situation. After all, we don't even know that we are suffering so much in those lower bodies. It's only those who are above us that see how we are suffering, how disgusting it is to eat stew. The hog does not know that it is disgusting to eat stew. But the human beings feel disgusted when they see hog eating stew with half-closed eyes. So we should not blame him. We are getting what we bargained for. And until our consciousness reform, you see, until our consciousness reform. So one should not deprecate the Lord of the Supreme Lord for the creation of this miserable world, just as one should not blame the king for creating a prison house in the government. The prison house is a necessary institution of the governmental establishment for those who are disobedient to the laws of the government. Misbehaving souls, they have to experience it. Similarly, this material world full of miseries is a temporary creation of the Lord for those who have forgotten him and are trying to lord it over the false manifestation. He, however, is always anxious to get the fallen souls back home, back to God. The Lord is always anxious to get the fallen souls out of this prison house, out of their suffering situation. Therefore, what does he do? He makes arrangements. He makes arrangements and say, and for that, and for this, he has given so many chances to the conditioned souls. It is a chance that the Lord himself incarnates. When he incarnates to perform pastimes, he's giving the conditioned soul the chance to meditate on these pastimes so that they can get purified, so that they can always be in touch with him. By meditating on these pastimes, they will always be in touch with him in consciousness. If you are always in contact with the Lord in consciousness, you will be covered by his protective energy. So for that reason, he comes in different incarnations. The Lord does not take the body of a hog just for pleasure. It is for the sake of his devotees. For the sake of his devotees, he takes different kinds of forms. For the sake of the devotees, he entered into the lake that was poisoned by Kalia. For the sake of the devotees, he was grieved by Kalia in his quarrels. For the sake of the devotees, he appeared as half man, half lion. For the sake of his devotees, he has taken different forms. And for the sake of his devotees, to give chance for people in this world to connect to him, to meditate on him, because if you meditate on his form, his activities, pastimes, one will get purified and one will be gradually drawn back, reconnected back to his eternal romance, where they will begin to hear his flute and begin to dance. Just like in Vrindavan, how all the living entities dance when Krishna plays his flute. How the rivers come alive, the thunder, the clouds come alive, all the animals, the black deer, the doe, the wife of the deer, they will leave their husbands and they will just follow the flute, come and just sit down beside Krishna with all their ears drawn back like this. And the cows will stop chewing the grass and they cock their ear like this and they are infatuated by Krishna's flute. That flute is playing. We are supposed to hear the flute, but due to the density of the covering, due to the layers of coverings we are in, we are unable to hear the flute. So Krishna gives the opportunity for us to hear about his appearance, about his form, about his activities and pastimes. Therefore, for that arrangement, he has made temples available. He has made his pure devotees available. He has incarnated at the scripture. He has provided devotees association. He has provided temples. He has provided Harinam Sankirtan. And is generating prasadam unlimitedly from everywhere. Yesterday, we were supposed to hear how the impersonalists do not have opportunity to take prasad. The impersonalists do not have opportunity to take prasad. When they merge into their nothingness, where's the chance of taking prasad? You have to be an individual to take prasad. When they lost their individuality, no more prasad for them. And just as there is no prasad for them, there is no kirtan for them, there is no harina for them, no bhajan for them, no bhagavatam for them, no Bhagavad Gita for them, no temple for them, no devotees association for them, and they are just mad, they lost their identity and they are just there, infatuated for how long? But here we have the chance. So just so for the sake of relieving these conditioned souls for the situation they are in, Krishna incarnated in so many forms and he made this International Society for Krishna Consciousness available to us through his divine grace like A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, so that we can all take advantage and associate positively and gradually evolve ourselves. Because these bodies we have, they are already falling. We are all being embraced imperceptibly by time. Falling is already taking place. We are being embraced imperceptibly by time. We don't see it, but it's embracing us and reducing the body and trying to fall the body down. If you have ever experienced white hair, your hair was black before, and now it has become white, that means you are under the influence of time. If you are experiencing joint aches of all kinds, you are being embraced by time. If you are experiencing eye ache, that you have to wear glass before you can see, you are experiencing the embrace of time. Imperceptibly, time embraces, the snake already embraces, the snake of time bites imperceptibly to take away everything, or just to make us like a mess, just to mess us up. Krishna take away everything again in the form of time. So we have to learn how to develop detachment consciously. And the process of detachment is to remember that everything actually belongs to God, that we have to be active to do our parts, but at the same time, we should not be attached to the results of our activities. And not being attached means we are offering percentage of the fruits of our activities to Krishna and to devotional activities. And if we are doing that, we should be increasing the percentage of our offerings until we get to a stage whereby we no longer offer any of the, we offer everything. We should become Niskama Kama Yogis. Niskama. From Vikamis, we became Kamis. From Kamis, we are becoming Niskamis or Niskama Kama Yogis, whereby we are acting that we engage the result in, part of the result in promoting Krishna consciousness or reminding the conditioned souls about the eternal relationship with God. And when we increase, when it intensifies, it gets to a state become Bhagavad Arpita Niskama Kama Yoga. Niskama Kama Yoga, that is Bhagavad Arpita. Bhagavad Arpita means you are only acting and all the results you offer it to God. You give your body, your mind, your everything, plus all the activities you can do and the results. Bhagavad Arpita Niskama Kama Yoga. Then at that time we have arrived and we are qualified to that and enjoy that mutually reciprocal relationship with the Lord, so as a child and his powerful parents. And we become fully dependent on the Lord. We fully trust the Lord. We fully depend on him, and the Lord will never fail to maintain us as Bhagavan. So this is the purport of this verse, and that he has given so many chances back to God, and for this he has given so many chances to the conditioned souls via the authoritative scriptures. He has given us the scriptures. I would ready to say, take, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender to me. I would ready to abandon all our, mental speculations and our separatist mentality. His representatives, when we see his representatives, we should take them as our life and soul and try to render services to them and get their mercy in order to advance in the goodness of, because you cannot get the Lord directly, but you get him through his representatives. So if you are too canister, if you are not Madhyama enough to realize that we need the mercy and blessings of the devotees in order to advance in our spiritual life, then we have not started. We need the mercy of other devotees, and the best of the devotees are the pure devotees who are representatives, who are sharing the medicine, and we have to take their association, render devotional service, allow the Lord to show us our anatas, we remove the anatas and move ahead. And personal incarnations, the Lord personal incarnation. He gives us his authoritative scriptures, he gives us his representatives, he himself made personal incarnations also for the sake of the living entities, me and you. Since he is not he has no direct attachment to this material world, he is not to be blamed for its creation. He has no direct attachment. This is a creation of his external energy to take charge, just like the police superintendent. He has to arrange this prison stuff. Then the prison warders are there, prison superintendents, all are accountable to. In that way, they are all serving the government. So we should not blame the Lord for our suffering conditions, and we should try to see how to elevate our consciousness so that we can become pure devotees in due course of time. So the benefits are unlimited, and we share opulences with the Lord. We go to the spiritual world. Before I conclude, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. On this note, we can make a summary. The material world is composed of the external energy. First, there are only two energies, the internal and the external. What we call marginal, the living entity, is just a fragmental part, little part of the internal energy. And because of his littleness, he easily got influenced by the external energy. And for that, we have called him marginal energy. And what you see in this material world is that the marginal energy is trying to lord it, is trying to exploit the resources of material nature and trying to lord it over material nature, thinking himself to be like a small god, small controller. And for that, he's implicating himself deeper and deeper into the lower levels of forgetfulness. And for that, he's suffering. And we remember Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Krishna says, Sabasya chaham pridisane stop, Mataha smriti gyanam apohanamcha. Vedai cha sabai aham eva vedya vedanta kri vedavi eva chaham. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Krishna allows it. Then when it is time to grant remembrance also, when we are ready to start our journey, Krishna himself, he arranges for us to remember him, by taking charge of our devotional journey and purifying us internally. Then we talk about Bhagavan also. Bhagavan. Ba means the maintainer and the guardian. Ga means the guide, the leader, and the creator. Then Va means he who lives in every being and in whom every living entity lives. So Bhagavan. Then we come down to draw our attention that yes, it is true that the government creates a prison house. That the prison house is necessary because the government knows that there are people who are going to be disobedient. So he has to create a place for them so that they don't disturb the sane people. So prison house created by the government should not be blamed. So the Lord should not be blamed for creating this material world for conditioned souls who want to experiment lordship. We want to become experimental lords. And we say finally, but no matter the situation, the Lord is so compassionate that he's more eager to take us back than we are ready to come. So he has made arrangements by sending the scriptures, incarnating as the scriptures, and sending his pure devotees, his pure representatives, and also providing devotional association, and personally himself, he comes as incarnation to perform multifarious, variegated pastimes, so that by meditating on those pastimes, we can get purified and come back home, back to body. That from wherever you are, you can connect with him by meditating on his pastimes, form, and activities. So let us not blame the Lord. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you for your presence. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hare Krishna. If there are some questions or commentaries on these points, please, you are welcome.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, His Grace, Chaitanya PREMA Prabhu. Krishna Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Yeah, Krishna Prabhu, my humble obeisances. I have some couple of questions. Number one is about Indra. Indra, why was he in such illusion? Didn't he have a spiritual master?
That's the first question.
Yeah, that's because if you have a spiritual master, the spiritual master is to save the disciple. Why was Indra in such a darkness of illusion?
Yeah, in the first place, Indra misbehaved. And it was caused by that same spiritual master supposed to protect him. It is part of the protective arrangement of the spiritual master for Indra to experience illusion. So it was caused to take the body of a hog. Because of his sin, he committed some serious offense there. So it was the arrangement to purify him, and eventually, when he went back now, he enjoyed the illusion fully, fully covered by Maya. He enjoyed it. But eventually, he was forcefully taken back, and he went back to resume his
My second question is, you kind of preach so much about detachment. You will lose everything you have. Death is there. We know all this. But my question is, if we don't enjoy all these opulence of Krishna, is it better for karmis to enjoy it? If we should renounce everything, we're worshiping God, and we are to be wretched. Is it the karmis that Krishna created this universe for? Why do we dwell so much on renouncement? You will lose everything you have. What about the karmis? I was thinking that, personally, this kind of teaching is for non-devotees who have no knowledge about spiritual life. So if you speak it to us, I want to know now, the karmis, are they the owner of the world than we who are devotees?
Anyway, the important thing is that before we leave our bodies, we must develop detachment consciously. And to develop detachment, first of all, you need to be reminded about the temporary nature of this world and the devastating effect of time, which is operating imperceptibly. This just reminds us why, because Devahuti also did the same thing. Once he wanted to help the living entity, when he considered the conditions of the living entity, it was so bad. So he induced Kapila Muni to talk about devotional service. But to do this devotional service properly, first of all, he made him to talk about the influence of time as it induces the living entities to do fruitive activities. Then the consequences, until he started to describe so many things that you will not want to hear if you are a householder.
Prabhu, I have last question.
Wait, you are jumping too fast now. So many things that you will not like to hear as a householder, Prabhu. If you go to maybe I should not reveal you the area. I don't want to go there. Don't go there. If you want to be a householder and you go and read that place, you start thinking of renouncing without first becoming a proper householder. So Devahuti induced Kapila Muni to talk about these things so that the living entities will develop what? Virati, detachment. And when before detachment will come, there should be some element of fear. You have to strike fear into the living entity that this world, this is it. So for that reason, after explaining the consequences of a Griyamedi life, then how that householder left his body. Before leaving the body, what happened? And after leaving the body, the road to Yamaraj. She induced him to describe the road to Yamaraj. What happens? How the road is so narrow that under there is gravel, hot gravel. The two sides there is fire, and the side of the road is just the size of the body of that particular living entity. So he has to pass through that road, and he cannot match the ground. He cannot go right, he cannot go left, he cannot stop. He wants to stop. Then the Yamadutas whip him. They whip him. Come on, move. In this way, they polish him. And on the road, he met all kinds of the hellish dogs who are more dangerous than jackals, appearing and chastising, backing on him, and chastising him for being very whimsical and different levels of hell before they go and throw him down to Yamaraj. To induce fear in him. You fear this material world, you are thinking that you are free to enjoy as you like. There are implications. In fact, at the point of death, nobody will follow you to leave the body to enter the grave.
Okay.
The family members for which you have worked very hard and you suffer so much, none of them will follow you. In fact, at the point of death, they will be coming to steal your checkbooks, they writing false checks to go and claim, and they want to take away everything in your face first to make you lament more. Then when you leave that body in lamentation, then you go and face all that one alone, and they will not fall into the grave and go with you. They will be asked to continue to enjoy more. And after you pass through all that, if you are qualified for a lower body, your subtle body will be trained, on how to function as a hog, for instance, before you be sent to the male, the semen of the male dog, and the male dog or hog will now transfer into the female. There you develop the body, and with that body you come out as a little hog, a little puppy.
I have a last question.
A little cat, then begin to behave like a little cat, doing all the things, stealing and taking pleasure in stealing people's fish and eating and doing mischievous things until you grow old and you spend the whole lifetime. There are some living entities that Prabhu eat under nasty condition. A mosquito just want to eat. When a mosquito comes to bite you, he's hungry, he wants to eat, but he eats under nasty condition. The nasty condition is that while trying to eat, he gets a slap. And that slap means his life is over. You just want to eat. Imagine you are eating. Somebody come from behind and give you a dirty slap on the neck. This is what it must go. It's a living entity who are taking such bodies. So we have to be careful the way we live. We have to know that everything belongs to Krishna. When we get things, we try to know how to engage everything in the devotional service of the Lord. That is the advice. That is the savior. Nirbanda Krishna Sambande, Yukta Vairagyam. Yukta Vairagyam Uchate. Never forget that everything belongs to the Lord, and whatever facility provided you is for glorifying the Lord. It is in that glorification of the Lord that you also partake in the enjoyment too. If you want to enjoy separately, it's like one who wants to enjoy Lashmi without Narayana. You'll be treated like a thief. So learn the art and science of Yukta Vairagya as presented by Lord Chaitanya, and you are covered. And the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is teaching us how to do this. How not to become a Griyamedi, but a Griyasta. You build 10 houses for yourself. Have you built any temple?
No, but I have a last question.
You are building 30 houses for yourself. Have you built any temple? You buy 20 cars for yourself. Have you bought one car for doing Harinam Sankirtan? So we have to be careful to dovetail. We are not saying don't get these things, but they all belong to Krishna, and therefore you should dovetail them in the service of the Lord, and it is perfect. After all, you have nothing. So what would you have to renounce? So Prabhu, this is the whole thing, to renounce this false sense of proprietorship. That is all what we are pushing for. Otherwise, everything will be taken away from you at the time of death. And only the reaction, the physical things will not go with you. All the wait. All the physical things we are able to gather here, none of them will go with you. None. Only the reactions of the sinful and pious activities will go with you.
Can I ask my last question now?
Of the sinful and pious activities will go with you. No physical things go with you. No car, no house, no phone, no laptop, no aeroplane, no private jet, nothing.
Is that why we are not working to earn a living?
We are working, but we are saying let us be Krishna conscious while working. That's what we are saying.
Okay, now let me ask my last question. The Pandavas, Krishna gave them some concessions, and they are regarded as still as the pure devotees. The Pandavas were eating fish eating. When we say we don't eat fish and all these things, but the Pandavas were eating, they were all meat eaters. and they were still pure devotees. That's concession for them. Maybe I'm coming. So my question is, in Africa, according to Prabhupada, time, place, and circumstance. Are you there, Prabhu? I'm not seeing you again. Okay, you are back.
Yeah.
Time, place, and circumstance in Africa. I believe that some concessions should be made to make devotees in Africa. Concession like polygamy. Concession like dressing code. So
Like
what is your
one?
dressing code? Dressing code.
Okay.
How we dress. Because sometimes when we see devotees, people think that we are juju people because it's not their culture. Then polygamy, for example, I'm using polygamy for African because we are all polygamous in the continent, many of us. I'm using it as an example because the Pandavas, from the area they came from in India, they eat meat a lot. And they were eating meat even when Krishna was there. And they were all still pure devotees. So what is your understanding in this concession, according to time, place, and circumstance, to make devotees?
Thank you very much. You know that we need to remain loyal to our original tradition and culture. But truly, according to time, place, and circumstances, the powerful, pure devotees make adjustments. Polygamy for a Kshatriya is not an offense. The Pandavas were Kshatriyas. So coming from the dharmic boundaries, coming from the Dharma point of view, is not to be counted as against them for eating meat. Because the Kshatriyas, they are allowed to kill some meat and eat also. So, but what can we say? Dress code also. You can see that our Gurudev Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Maharaj, he used to dress according to time, place, and circumstances. And many evolved devotees, they dress according. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was the first to ride a car. You know, the first sadhu to ride a car, He's ready to adjust anything. In fact, even on a Ekadasi, they say, he said, if you are to, instead of, if fasting will make you to be able to not do any service, you better eat fish or whatever is available and go and preach. So according to time, place, and circumstances, these adjustments are made, but they are made by these powerful devotees. So for dressing, you can dress according to time, place, and circumstances. What is your intention? Who do you want to go and meet? You have to make the situational analysis. Then your appearance, and if you have to go with a car and they will open the gate for you, you go with the car. As against you go by foot and the gate man turn you out. Whereas your intention is to meet the manager. So if you go with a car and they will open the gate for you and salute you for you to pass to go and meet the manager, why don't you go with a car? So according to time, place, and circumstances, these adjustments are made. Okay? As for polygamy in Africa, like any other place, even in India, the Kshatriyas were polygamous. So if you are a Kshatriya and you go into polygamy, what is wrong in it? After all, if you can maintain them, it's okay. So like that, it depends on you. And we pray that one become very advanced and focused in consciousness before he start making all those diversifications.
I talk about making devotees because some people already have 3-5 wives and children. So when they see we are not polygamous, we don't accommodate them. Like now we're talking about
them. We accommodate them.
Prabhu, wait.
The important
we have the gay, the lesbians in the world, the LGBT, whatever. But in Africa, the polygamous people, they will raise many devotees for the movement. That's my question.
We allow you now, Prabhu. You can get many wives and may produce many biological devotees and just turn your house into a temple. Prabhu, yes, now why not? You turn your house into a temple and you have your pujari, you have your Sankirtan leader, you have your cook, you have your everything. Rishabhadev had 100 sons. And some of them were priests, some of them were businessmen, some of them. So if we have many, if you can produce many devotees, you can increase our population. And if you are sincerely trying to engage them in devotional service, Krishna will facilitate you, definitely. So those who have the ability to make more devotees biologically, why not? We are not liberationists. We are not trying to liberate ourselves and go to heaven. If you can make devotees biologically, why not? And if you have the strength to take care of them, but what we don't want is you marry this one, you leave, you go take another one, you leave, go take another one, you leave. If you take them and you're able to maintain them, make them happy, and bring Krishna into the center of the house, I don't think anybody is going to be seriously against it. Our gurus are not so much against that, but they only appeal to us that it is very, very dangerous, even with one. So if you go and bring many, they could become more dangerous. Even the regulated one, there is accident even on the express road. So even that regulated sense gratification is dangerous. So if you expand it too much, you can get two things to come together again, and you are finished in trying to do household duty and procreating devotees. Then you can no longer chant again. Everything is finished. You cannot make your house a temple again. Everything becomes, in your presence, they begin to bring beer, they begin to break all the regulatory principles, and you see yourself compromising. Huh? So we have to be careful. We have to, even the dress also, there is an extent you have to go if you are regulating. There are sannyasis, there are brahmacharis, then there are grihastas. The dress code for grihasta to be very, very different. He has to have more of clothes that he can use to associate with people freely than dhoti and kota. But for the sannyasi and brahmacharis, he has to have more dhoti and kota, maybe one or two or those of that type, enough. But he has to have enough dhoti and kota. You see? You have to have the brahmachari has to have enough dhoti and kota, because that is the ashram. The ashram demands that. But where you have to interrelate with many people outside, Gurudev said, actually, our movement, 99% or 95%, or let me give some percentage, are going to be grihastas. And that the grihastas are very important because they are the ones that relate directly with the people outside. And the impression they get from that association, that will encourage them to either become devotee or not devotee. So the ashram grihasta ashram is very, very important, so important that if we make it quality, we can make more devotees than we say we are brahmacharis and nothing to do with women and less devotees. We live in more isolation. The societies will not accept us as much, but it's good to maintain all the ashrams independently. But the grihastas have their rules and regulations. The brahmacharis have their rules and regulations. The kshatriyas have their rules and regulations. The brahmanas have their rules and regulations. And each wants to confine himself to his own rules and regulations, not expect somebody in another ashram to come and act like him. Otherwise, he becomes envious. Then grihasta is enjoying his nice car, going to places. The brahmachari can become envious that, oh, you grihasta, you're enjoying too much. This is sense gratification. But he needs that in order to fit in the society and reach certain level of people. You see, he has to relate with, he's relating with certain level of people. He has to be able to influence them by his conduct and by his appearance, by everything around him. So he has to appear nicely all the time, eating well, looking luxuriant, and at the same time focused, not extravagant, but vegans. You see, so in this way, we are able to reach different class of people in the society according to time, place, and the prevailing circumstances. But for major adjustments, it takes a Mahaguru to make it. I can remember when some of our powerful gurus wanted to make some adjustment in the cloth, like in New Vrindavan, when they started wearing white robes instead of dhoti and kota, when the names begin to change from ahimsa to non-violence in English. Humility from amanitwam to humility. But when there were too many changes, And the dress code was changed. The devotees were wearing robes. At the point, Prabhupada did not like it, and he has to go against it. And what to say? Adjustment have to be made. We have to be careful so that we don't compromise until we lose our nucleus practices. You see? So, but at the same time, we should be flexible. You know, according to time, place, and something we can dress. You know. So, Prabhu, this much I can say for now about this. We are not against luxury, but we say be careful so that you maintain your focus. Don't be carried away.
Another day that I'm proper, you may unmute, please.
So yeah, Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much. So Prabhu, one may ask if, okay, actually we are suffering here in this material world as a result of the choice that we made. And one may say, as a child, I might not know that the knife that I'm looking for might cause me a harm. So a good parent will prevent me from the knife. So knowing very well, Krishna, knowing very well that coming here, we are going to be tormented by these illusory energies, but he still allow us here to come. One may say that what?
Prabhu, if Krishna didn't allow you to come, you will say Krishna is autocratic. It's like Idi Amin. Say, because you come and be giving command. Don't go there, don't go there. Why? What are you hiding from me? I want to experience what is there. So it is your choice to come, and that choice must be respected. So that you come and experience. Since you don't want to learn by hearing, you have to learn by experience. That means you have come down from the first class on to a second class, third class. The first class one just hears, he has full trust in the Lord. And the pure devotees, just like the pure, they have full trust in the Lord. And they are fully dependent on the Lord, and they have no other business than glorifying the Lord. And for that, the Lord reciprocates with them. He takes care of them, full care of them. He doesn't allow external energy to reach the domain of the. He himself personally arranges for his pure devotee. So the choice is yours, Prabhu. You choose to go and peep and know what is happening in the prison. So you go there. Okay, you want to go? You want to go? I've been telling you don't go. You want to go? Okay. You go there, then you go and put your face there. The prison energy catch you. You go and try to influence the bottle of beer, and the bottle of beer influence you. Then you want to blame the person that allow you to exhibit your freedom? Huh? You want to learn by experience. I told you bottle of beer is not good, though. Bottle of beer is not good, though. Don't go, don't drink. You say, no, but why are you telling me don't? I've not experienced it before. So you decide to go and test it. And as you open it and empty the contents into your container, they begin to influence you from within to without. And you start misbehaving. Then in the process, more of those energy and its associates cut you and tangle you more, rope you, until you don't know your right from your left. You wake up in a strange place, where they are birth, old age, disease, and death. Then you want to blame the person that, when the spiritual world enjoy, you want to test. Oh yeah, test. So it is your choice, it's not the Lord. And don't try to turn the Lord into an autocrat or a dictator. The Lord is too loving to become a dictator. So he respects your independence and allow you to come and experience. Up to now, you are playing experimental God. Even after changing so many bodies. Even in lower forms, we have been doing a sense gratification, generating plenty of children, and feeling like master. Even in the human, we still continue. We continue. We want to regulate it with scripture. Okay, let's regulate it with scripture, but let's still continue. Give up sex life altogether, eventually. If we are willing to give up sex life, oh, then you are ready to go back straight. Otherwise, regulated sex life will just take you a longer time, though you will still go. Because at the point, you see yourself, your wife, and your children, everything you have as Krishna's property, and you engage them in devotional service. But that takes a long time. You see? So those who take Sanya, they just escape all those avoidable stuffs born out of sense gratification, regulated sense gratification. And they just go there. They preach as heroes. To give up sex life is the one who is able to do that is the hero. He's a Goswami. So to the degree you are still attached to sex life, its extensions will catch you, and to that degree you have to experience more things until finally, maybe at the point of death, when we start seeing our children going different directions, you call them, hey, you see the child dodging you instead of coming to help you. You pass through your body, you want him to come and put you pampers, and he just pass a distance whereby you will feel that he didn't hear you. And you are trying to call him, he just passed there. And you are in the stool for a long time. They say, this man, you want me to come and pack his stool. He should die now. And you are hearing this talk from distance. When you begin to hear things like that, they say, hey, but where is the bank balance now? Where is that his checkbook? Where is it? Where did he keep it? Where is that key to his safe? Yeah, the laptop, I've already taken the laptop. And that big phone that I've been asking for since, he refused to give me. Let me take it. Now he's about to die now. Once he dies, he cannot defend. In this way, they share things in his presence. That time, maybe you will have everything. Then, in that situation, if you leave your body and Yamadutas take you to Yamasadan, when you get there, what you will see, even on the way, only you will see. None of your expansion for which you work very hard will see. So for now, start developing detachment, virality. And you should lament for wasting so many lifetimes trying to just gratify the senses. Instead, we console ourselves by engaging whatever comes our way in devotional service. In the mood of Nirbanda, Krishna, Sambande, Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya, whatever is favorable for devotional service, we accept it. Whatever is unfavorable for devotional service, we reject it. In that way, with eliminative thinking, we start getting purification. And by engaging whatever comes our way in devotional service, we start getting purification until we get fully purified and good. So the choice is ours, Prabhu. Don't blame him. According to this text, the Supreme Lord should not be deprecated. That is the word used. One should not deprecate the Supreme Lord for the creation of this miserable, miserable world. Just as one should not blame the king for creating a prison. You will not see that this world is miserable now. Why? Because of your level. As much as you will not see that a dog or a cat will not see his life miserable. The ant will not see his life miserable. It is you that is higher than him that is seeing that his life is miserable. You are absorbed, being covered by Maya. So as long as you are not seeing that this world is miserable, when Prabhupada say like this miserable material world, you say, why is he calling it miserable? Why? Is it miserable? There is sense gratification, say miserable. Whatever sense gratification here is going to attract enough sinful reaction and implicate one deeper. So one has to start practicing virality, detachment. And the formula for practicing detachment is given also in the Bhagavatam. The formula for practicing detachment. Automatic, to gain automatic detachment without separately practicing it. There is a formula. And if you get that formula, you'll be acting in this world, but you will not be entangled. So automatically you develop detachment. Where's that sloka? Bhakti Paresa Anubhavo Virakti 11.242. This is the formula for detachment. You don't need to separately practice detachment as the yogis do. Very rigorous. And they are dragged down by their senses along the line. So open to 11.242. We always quote this verse so that we can always remind ourselves. Bhakti Paresa Anubhavo Virakti Ayatra Shaisa Trika Ekakalaha Prapadya Manasya Yatas Natasius Tusti Pustik Shud Apayo Anugasam. that devotion, direct experience of the Lord, and detachment from other things. These other things are the first angle of surrender, or second angle of surrender. That means avoiding all unfavorable, all these unfavorable things are the other things. Detachment from all other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So to take full shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, viracity will take place, detachment will take place automatically. And as you are acting for the Lord. You are doing the karma, you are doing the yoga, and Krishna takes the karma and give you the yoga. Krishna will take the karma and give you the yoga. He takes the karma and give you the yoga. Your yoga accumulates to a point whereby you become fully renounced. Then qualified to enter into the spiritual world, to dance ecstatically with the Lord without looking back. So this is the formula. We develop detachment if we do devotion. So this is where we are. Thank you very much. Don't blame the Lord. Don't deprecate the Lord. It's not the cause of anything. As much as the government should not be deprecated for creating a prison house.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. And Chakra Prabhu has his hand up, but I want to get something across really quick. Our revered speaker, His Grace Chaitanya Prabhu, mentioned a few things that are actually mentioned in the scriptures. So it's not speculation or concoction, but they need some clarification. One is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada saying to his disciples, if they had to eat fish to go out to preach, they can go ahead and do that. If they had to eat grains on a Kadashi to preach, they should go ahead and do that. These statements were made, but there is nowhere in the scriptures to tell us that they did happen. So sometimes certain things are said just to express the importance of something, but it does not mean an encouragement for us to do that. So I just want the watchers to...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. It's not an encouragement to this. It's the pure devotees who can adjust and say something to emphasize the importance of preaching. That's why he said it. It's not irregular stuff. So thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you.
Chakra Prabhu, please give me a mute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for your lecture. All glory to good Deva and all glory to your assembly. Yeah, in listening to your lecture, it looks as if you were placing a lot of emphasis on people who are trying to make a lot of money and how they have to donate for the cause of Guru and Krishna. But we realize that even among devotees, a lot of people, even though they might not have money, like money, but at least the little that they have for sustenance is available to them. But even with those devotees, they are also so attached to the little they have that, to the extent that if they will not even be ready to take a penny out of it to help the cause of the temple or the maintenance of other devotees who might not even have at all. And looking at an example, the biblical example of the woman who gave two pennies, who gave 2 coins as a donation in the temple. And a lot of people were giving sacks of money, big sacks of money. And yet Jesus had to say that those who are giving big sacks of money, have not given enough, but the person who gave the two coins, she has given the biggest amount of money. So I want a little bit clarification about how we have to use whatever we have in the service of the Lord based on the way you explain it. I want some clarification. That is it applicable to those who have actually made money enough that they have 10 cars and the temple doesn't have 1 car? And meanwhile, if they give the temple 1 car, the temple will look at it and let the car deteriorate without even being able to maintain it. So what do we encourage them? To even give more cars to the temple. And I quite remember sometime one devotee that we had who lived outside, he gave us a car for the temple. And we had to even go to him. We could not even raise money to buy fuel. We have to go to him every time we are short of fuel to go and ask him to give us money for fuel. So such a person, how are we even encouraging him to help the temple when he has donated the whole car to us and we still have to go to him to beg to give us money for fuel? So I want a little bit more clarification about that Victor Baragia's philosophy that you were talking about, and who are applicable to that. Who is it applicable to? Is it only those who have money, or everybody is included?
Yeah, everybody is included. Everybody is included. Yeah, in the sense that sense of Yuta Vairagya is a kind of attitude that somebody must develop and maintain. So if you have 5 cedis, or maybe if you have $5, and you are able to give $1 out of it, you have given. The Lord will rate it as equal to somebody who had $500 and gave $50 out of it. From the Lord's calculation, is the same. Your 50 and the person's 5 is the same. And the widow's mite you are talking about in the Bible is also the same thing. She gave all that she had. All that she had. Whereas those who were giving those piles of money, what they were giving is not even up to 1% of what they have. So from the Lord's calculation, the widow who gave that 2 pence or so, our own is higher than theirs. So that is accepted. So the thing is that everybody is encouraged to give. Everybody is encouraged to give. Yes. Whether you are giving all other things, still when it comes to the money also, squeeze out something to give, however little. See, if others are giving 10 cedis and they're having 100 cedis in their pockets, and if you have 10 cedis in your pocket, you should be able to give one cedi. The Lord will rate it as the same. So it is between you and the Lord how much you have and how much you are giving. So by the principle of giving should be practiced by everyone. It's very, very important. And secondly, if you give something to the temple, just do your part. You give, even though the way they may utilize the thing might not be motivating, but once you have given your own part, you give a car, for instance, to the temple, you have given it to the temple, you have done your part. And the reward that will come to you based on the one that you have given. You have given a car, and the Lord will reciprocate based on that you have given. How they utilize it, how they utilize and maintain it, that is, they create individual karma for themselves if they misuse it. But you have gotten your reward for giving. So do not let how they will treat what you give stop you from giving. So that is the transcendental approach. You are giving, but you are not attached to how they use it, because your reward comes based on your giving. Understand? Based on what you have given. So let us make it like that. Just give whatever you give, you want to give. Give it and leave it. How they utilize it, leave it for them and the Lord. Though it is painful that what you give will be misused in your eyes, but still you are giving it and you have been rewarded for it by the Lord, not by human beings, but by the Lord. You see? So let us take solace in that the Lord is there to reciprocate all our good wills, all our sacrifices, and He's doing it proportionately. So let that pacify us. Give, and just be detached from how they use it. It's tantamount to saying, do your duty without attachment to the result. Just do what you can do and leave the rest for the Lord and the management. And it is the management they misuse if they are implicating themselves into certain complexities. And the Lord will take care of them accordingly. Somebody gives something and you misuse it. The reaction is between you and the Lord. But the person who has given will not get further reaction. He has given and he has gotten his reciprocation from the Lord. And that is okay. His own ends there. That should not stop you from giving because they are misusing what you give. So that is the approach that we should take. Hare Krishna.
So,
Hare Krishna,
if I may understand quickly, if I may understand, does that mean like if even I'm a devotee living in the temple and I'm doing some strong sankirtan to help a project, and right under my nose, I see that whatever thing I'm collecting to bring in for that project is being misused. It's not being used for the proper thing. So the way I understand what you are saying, it means that it's my duty to bring in maybe the Lakshmi or whatever can be used to it, but it's not my duty to oversee that the lost property is properly taken care of. Is that what you are telling me?
No, that is not what I'm saying. That's not exactly what I'm saying. But there is a limit, because if you monitor it too much, you might discourage yourself along the line. So monitor it at on level and try to do some. If you see that there's a deviation, try to go some level, some way. Let them know that you are not happy with the way this thing is being used. But leave the details for the person and the Lord, because the Lord can reward everybody for his action more accurately than what anyone else can do. Because if we are to react, in the process of reacting, anger can come in. And once anger comes in to influence your reaction, it might just destroy all that you have given in the process. In the end, you realize that you shouldn't have taken in that direction. So if somebody is misusing and you are in the environment and you witness, immediately you also make some inputs. Let them know that this thing would have been better used this way. And the universe will capture that video that you have made your input. You have made some effort to do correction. If the person still insists on doing what is meant on doing, then you will leave the person. Or you approach your higher authorities who can also caution the person that this thing you are misusing is somebody's donation to the Lord. Why are you depriving the Lord from, So in this way, some efforts will be made, but ultimately, you just have to abandon it and go and do other things. We are arranging to give more. We are arranging to give more. We are arranging to give more and be getting your reward. You give more and get your reward. Give more. If you have to give 5 times and get the reward 5 times, don't let any misuse matter, dissuade you from giving up to the 5. And instead, to give more than the 5, then add more to your credit, like that. That is the spiritual worship approach we should take. And say, damn you, Maya. Okay, I'm not damn you. Don't say damn you, Maya, because Maya can be very so say, Maya, please know that I'm a devotee of Krishna. So I'm your master servant, so allow me to pass. Something like that. So yes, please let us approach it like that. We make effort. Once the thing happens in our presence and we are witness that the misuse is taking place, you have to make effort to let them know that you have witnessed this, and you are not a party to it. If you can change. If you are not ready to change, then I've done my own part. Universally, it's recorded. So when your marriage is playing the video, they will also see that you did your part. So let's do our part and not overreact.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you for the questions and the answers. And thank you for speaking. His Grace Chaitanya PREMA PRABHU. Somehow or other, we've spent 2 hours, and I think it's time to say goodbye for today. I had tons of questions, but I could not answer any of them because it's already time is already far gone. But thank you for the class. I just wanted to say something briefly that we live in a world of reality. And as Chaitanya PREMA PRABHU was saying, one should not become attached to his actions. Like if somebody donates something to the temple, don't become attached. You donated for a purpose, whether the person you donated to uses it for the purpose or not, you've done your part. Yes, you've done your part. But if the donation was not used for the purpose, the person may not talk, may not complain, but the person receiving the donation should better understand that he's no more going to be getting donations like that anymore. Because no intelligent person will struggle hard and donate something for a purpose and sees the donation put into the drain. If somebody donates money for a temple construction and the person decides to use the money to travel or uses the money to buy food, and the construction of the temple is left somewhere, and you expect the person to continually donate, that is not going to happen, not in this material world. So that we should pay attention to. And I will humbly request the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Chaitanya PREMA PRABHU. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Vancha Karpata Rubias, Cha Kripa Sundubia Sevascha Ha, Pashita Nam, Vaishna Vivian, Ananta Vaishna, His Grace Sri Chaitanya PREMA PRABHU Ki.